Welcome to Turbocharging Teams, the series that provides you with tips, tricks, and detailed information to help you get more from Microsoft Teams. So whether you're an IT pro, a power user, or just a regular user working with Microsoft Teams, we're glad you're here. My name is Dino Caputo, and I'm joined by my colleague, Kevin Keeler. So today, Kevin and I are going to continue a topic which I know Kevin is very passionate about, and that's analytics. And as Kevin mentioned last time, understanding and using analytics that is built into Teams is how you truly know what's working and what's not.
Yeah, no, that's right, Dino. So I am passionate about this, and analytics helps you move, past all the different opinions that people might have to facts. Facts about usage and adoption, quality, reliability, user satisfaction, and also about right sizing your licensing and the finances around that.
Yeah, so in the last episode, we talked about analytics that are available to all team members directly from within Teams and mostly adoption metrics. And today we're going to discuss the more powerful analytics that are available to administrative users. So in this case, these are people that are granted obviously a more specific role than just user. So there's a couple of different things you need to consider when you're talking about admin roles. So there's Office 365 admin roles. And specifically, you could be a global admin, would obviously have access to all these reports. There's a Teams service level administrator, which would also get you access to all the reports we're going to talk about today. There are other roles. There's a report reader role in Office 365, which gives you access to broader Office 365 reports, but not all the Teams reports, unfortunately. And even some of the other non-Teams roles, while they will give you access to certain user-specific data like call quality metrics and things like that, there's a number of reports that they still don't give you access to in the in the Teams Admin Center specifically. So it might be a bit of a challenge, but in order to view all of them, generally the Teams admin roles and global admin roles will let you see them all.
Yeah, no, that I think, my experience has been the roles are kind of confusing. Like when organizations, when we're helping them with like an analytics checkup, they, rightly so, they try to give us, the lowest possible role, and it's not exactly. You think that like report reader role would be it, but depending on the reports, that doesn't always do it. So yeah, check out the documentation, but to some degree, it's a little bit of trial and error. And today, as Dino said, we're talking about the admin report. So the first thing you need to do is to log into the Office 365 Admin Center. There are some overall Office 365 reports that include Teams data, but today we're going to really just talk about specifically the reports that are available in the Teams Admin Center. I guess because this is turbocharging Teams. Maybe if we do a new series like Supercharging SharePoint, we might explore the SharePoint Admin Center, but today we're going to stick on the Teams Admin Center. So when you get to the Office 365 Admin Center, you may need to click on something that says Show All, and then it lists all the admin centers, and then you're going to pick Teams under the admin centers list. And that'll bring you to the landing page for the Teams Admin Center, and that is this overall dashboard. And right from there, there's a bunch of things, but there is one Teams user activity kind of tile on the dashboard, and you can click into that and see some Teams user activity reports. The real kind of path to it is if you go under on the menu on the left-hand side, there'll be something that says Analytics and Reports. I mean, it's funny, it says reports plural, but really it just lists, well, the menu item just lists usage reports. So you click on usage reports, and then that'll bring, in kind of the right-hand side of the screen, the main part, it'll give you the list of reports. And as always, we're not going to drill down into all the minutia of each of the reports, but we want to give you an idea of what's there so you can go and explore it on your own. So when you look at the Teams reports. There'll be this a bunch of things. So I just want to cover a few. One of the key ones is the team's user activity report. Now, this is like a super powered, turbocharged version of some of the things we talked in the last episode that are available to everybody directly from Teams. So here you can see, just all the different messages, all the different meetings participated in, how much time was spent in audio calls, one-to-one calls, how much time video, screen sharing, a whole bunch of things. And in fact, it's aggregated, but you can, depending on your tenant, you can also see, this information on a user-specific basis. Now, if having that user-specific data is a problem to you or think that there's privacy concerns, Microsoft is pretty darn good about protecting individual users' privacy. So you can make that specific data anonymous. Now this is a Microsoft 365 admin thing, but you can go into the org settings and the services reports tab, and you can choose this option to say display anonymous identifiers. That way it won't say, dcaputo at enableuc.com. It will just have, it'll have a hashed identifier so you can't see what individuals are doing. So this Teams user activity report has a tremendous amount of information. And then there's other things that, like apps usage, that really shows you which applications are being used by how many users and in how many teams. And I think increasingly, you know, Dino, I think you'd agree, like people are increasingly installing more applications inside Teams because it's supposed to be the hub where work gets done, right? So
Yeah, that's for sure, and especially given the default is to allow to be installed. So unless the orgs have changed that, then
right.
we should see quite the proliferation of application installs.
Yeah, and that's good because, I think that allows, third parties and Microsoft to extend the capabilities and functionality of Teams. But so that apps usage report really shows you who's using it. So as we talked about last time, maybe if people aren't using apps that you think they should be using, there's an opportunity through training or communication to, give them some more power. And then you can figure out in what teams they're being used. So lots of information there. Another really interesting thing, I think, as you in your organization try to figure out, on what devices are people using Teams? Are they using, the desktop? So the Teams device usage will tell you which users are using the desktop, and then it breaks it down if they're using the Windows desktop, the Mac desktop, or even Linux. I've never used the Teams client on the Linux desktop. I don't know if I
Nor
should
I.
probably I should try that one time. So any of the desktop clients or the mobile clients, like are you using it on iOS, in other words, the iPhones or Android, or how many people are using just on the browser web client. So that report as well is if you it provides user level data. So that might be interesting if you want to target training and say, hey, this group of users is predominantly using an Android device, and the capabilities of Teams are pretty consistent across the different devices, but they're not entirely consistent. So you may want to target your training. Then there's a PSTN usage report that provides a whole bunch of different things around, whether you're using calling plans or direct routing. There's lots and lots of fields. And in fact, on this report, it's interesting because if you export the data, there's even more fields that are available online. So there's a wealth of information here. And then there's some other PSTN reports, like a PSTN minutes pool, which shows you audio conferencing or calling minutes, and really interesting there by license type. So that might help you in terms of your kind of financial licensing right sizing. There's also a PSTN blocked users report, which talks about calls for users, either outbound or inbound, that are being blocked and gives you reason codes. And then the last one I just want to mention, it's kind of in a little bit of a different area, is the Teams live event usage. So that for each event, it tells you who was the presenters, who are the producers, who's the organizers, and then a bunch of, kind of typical view information. So you can see, how much, how popular an event is, both, during the event and then after the event is complete. So that's a quick overview of the Teams admin dashboard and Teams admin usage reports. But really, right at the bottom of the Teams admin center menu is an item that's labeled call quality dashboard. And that really opens a whole nother world of detail reporting. And over to you, Dino, to explain that.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So the call quality dashboard is something that's been around for a while, since the Skype days as well, and really it's a separate site that you'll have to log into, and then it presents you a variety of different views and graphs and lots of reports around the call quality within Skype for Business and now Teams. So when you first log in, you'll see some detailed reports, and really here it's going to give you a sort of a 50,000 foot level of what the audio quality is going to be like within Teams, for example. So these reports are more about assessing audio and video quality and kind of errors within Teams, understanding the overall health of the audio and video aspects of Teams. So when you sign into CQD, the CQD dashboard, one of the first reports that you see is sort of the audio trends by month, and why I like it is because you can kind of get a view of the call quality trend that's been happening over the past few months. So you can quickly get an idea of whether or not you're trending up or down, and that's important. So if lots of people are complaining about poor call quality, as an administrator, one of the first things you can do is log into CQD, and you should be able to quickly validate that. And then there's a bunch of summary reports that you can get into as well, which talk about a number of different things. And there's too many to go into today, but certainly if you've gone and deployed location information within your tenant in terms of uploading all your subnets, you can look at location enhanced reports, for example, which shows quality breakdown by subnets, which is extremely useful. And this is one of the reasons why Kevin and I suggest, you always upload your building data information, which, breaks down all your subnets within your organization. So if you do that, then you get these enhanced reports that show, hey, this particular building, and you can label it with your own whatever name, 123 somewhere street, whatever office location you like, that location's reporting poor call quality. So why is that? You can dive in. So they're more meaningful reports. So I really like that aspect of CQD. There's a number of help desk reports and client versioning reports. We talked a little bit about finding out who's using what. So you can dive into some of these reports that give you some more details about the specific endpoints accessing Teams. Another favorite is the Rate My Call report. So you can look at how people are answering the question after a call or a meeting. That 1 to 5 rating scale and any other information they're putting in there. So I like those because you can often get an understanding of how people are adopting Teams or how things are going by looking at the Rate My Call. And I know several organizations that I've worked with use that as a key performance indicator in terms of how their rollouts are going and just how happy people are with Teams. And there may be a new feature that rolls out that Microsoft's produced, and suddenly your call, the Rate My Call drops. That might be an indicator of why that is. And conversely, if a feature that's been rolled out that people have been asking for has come out, maybe people may give you a higher score. So do check that out. Again, it is a separate site, so don't be alarmed when you have to log in. And yeah, I should, along with this reporting, I should mention Power BI. And I think, while CQD has been great, I believe that the focus is going to be shifting toward moving to using Power BI to deliver and drive all these reports. And there's a number of Power BI reports that Microsoft has made available for you to download and publish within your environment. And these reports access the same data in the back end, but just produce, I think, much more robust reports, given that it's the Power BI platform. So there's a number of built-in reports that you can go and download off Microsoft sites. Why I like these is because I can quickly download them and publish them per each of my customers, and then they can consume them right within Teams.
Right.
So they can I just publish them to a channel, and they can see the Power BI reports there, which is kind of neat. So they don't even have to leave the Teams client as an admin to go and look at some of this data. So I think those are super powerful. And I really like the direction those are going in, and hope to see more of these reports. And certainly you're open to customizing and creating your own reports as you see fit as well.
Yeah, no, and I think that's, just to make sure that people caught this, is like the call quality dashboard. That's really the first place where you get, obviously get quality based on the name, but that's really the place you need to go to get quality, reliability, and user satisfaction, right? Because the other reports, whether it's directly in Teams or in the Teams Admin Center, are really around, kind of the usage for the most part. So, and I just also wanted to just emphasize something that you said too, Dino, is, you've got these summary reports, but the last menu option, detailed reports, like the call quality dashboard, as you said, it's kind of like Microsoft built their own report generation tool many years ago, and but Power BI is definitely kind of the future. And I think we've done some interesting things in terms of comparing quality and user satisfaction, and you can do that in, well, you theoretically can do that in the call quality dashboard, but you can also certainly do that in Power BI, which accesses the same data set. And that's very interesting because there's not always a relationship between the system reported call quality and the user satisfaction. And I think we mentioned in the last episode, user satisfaction for the most part always trumps everything, because if your users are happy as an IT pro, then probably your world is good. So, I think this, at the end of this episode, I want to kind of, give a specific call to action. 100% tell people in your organization about the reports that are directly available in Teams, which we covered in the last episode. And then make sure that someone that has administrative, permissions, figure out which ones they need. But they should be looking at these administrative reports in the Teams Admin Center and Call Quality Dashboard at least monthly. And as Dino said, look for trends. And I think, as we mentioned last time, if things are getting better or worse, do you know why that's happening, right? Even if they're getting better, if you don't know why it's happening, you probably need to do some more investigation. And then, Dino, you made this point, that whole subnet building file, that gives you the opportunity to look for quality and reliability differences between your different locations. User satisfaction ratings are key. So when people are looking at these monthly or more often, look at that, and then watch for new reports to appear, because Microsoft continues, whether it's new Power BI reports, new call quality dashboard reports, or less frequently, but they do add things to either the Office 365 admin or Teams Admin Center. And if you're an overachiever in the Office 365 admin, is for bonus points, there's also a productivity score report you might want to look at. And then, as Dino mentioned, look at some of these downloadable Power BI reports that you can install directly right in Teams.
Awesome. So we've mentioned a few times that you should check for new reports, because Teams keeps evolving. Certainly, week over week, there's lots of new things that seem to be popping up. So in the next episode of Turbocharging Teams, we're going to talk about exactly how you, as an IT professional or end user, can find out about keeping up with what is new in Teams. So until then, stay safe, and thank you for joining us.